Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to a conversation around enhancing your self-healing with the idea and the intention and the actions to create a new paradigm around our health and healing. Hey, Jen. Hey, Susie. Welcome. Glad to see you here. I say this because how many of you, when your body is, and this is the way I refer to it, when your body is talking to you, when it's telling you it doesn't feel good, when it's telling you that it hurts, how are you responding to it? Are you listening? Are you supporting yourself? Are you having a conversation with yourself? Are you immediately calling the doctor or calling a friend or doing research online as to what your symptoms that you're experiencing could mean? What are you doing when your body says, like, I'm not okay? Now, years ago, I grew up thinking that if I had a fever, especially as a kid, my mom, and if you're joining in, say hi, let me know that you're here. If you've got questions or responses to anything that I'm sharing, let me know, because I would love for this to be a conversation. And like, hey, Jen, yeah, it's good to see you. But when I was growing up, if I had a fever, of course, my mom would stick the thermometer in my mouth. Not always fun. It tasted funny. Fortunately, I didn't remember the thermometer in the butt when I was even younger. But the thermometer in the mouth, after it had been dipped in alcohol to be cleansed, and then having to hold it under your tongue, and it seemed like such a big deal when we were kids. And then, of course, if you had a fever, then you might be given a pill to bring that fever down. How many of you, like, that was your experience as a kid growing up? If it was, say yes, thumbs up in the comments. I know it was mine. Like, I thought a fever was a bad thing. Now, I know really high fevers are a bad thing. We don't want fevers to spike to 104 and 105 or higher. But a fever of 100, 101, maybe even 102, like, I just remember, you got to take medication every few hours to keep the fever down. And we're looking for the fever to go away. So imagine my surprise when I enter chiropractic school and I'm learning anatomy and physiology and all this information about the body. Thanks, Jen, for that. So Jen, learned this too growing up. So imagine when I'm in chiropractic school and I'm learning all of these sciences and I'm learning all of this information about the body. And I learned this information that one of the reasons that our body's temperature increases when it's exposed to something bad, bacteria, virus, is because it cannot live in an environment that's too hot. That our body's response to getting exposed to nasty stuff is to create a fever because it literally can't live in those temperatures. So I'm sitting there in class and I can remember this going, then why do we take medication to bring our fever down? Why do we take medication? Because we've been taught. And I still don't get it. I now, because of what I learned in chiropractic school, that if I've got a fever of 100, I've got a fever of 101, I'm going to let my body run its course. I'm going to let my body do what it knows to do in all of its innate wisdom, because my body knows how to respond to those threats. The only time I would consider calling a doctor is If that fever lasts for days and days and days, you know, like a low fever for days, or it's spiking into like really high numbers. Because what I came to learn is our body has a wisdom. It has wisdom. It knows how to respond to these threats. And what I've discovered is when I allow my body to do what it knows to do, I'm going to move through whatever that ickiness, that sickness that I'm feeling faster. Now, I might not feel phenomenal. It may require me to take some time off of work or to change up my schedule. It may require me to get more rest, drink more water, do things to take care of me, to support my body doing what it knows to do. Very different picture than what we were created, where fever is bad. Yes, some are. Some do indicate a more serious issue that does require a doctor's attention. But then there's others that it's just our body doing what it knows to do and taking care of us. Now, for me, and I'd love to know about you, isn't that a much more supportive, loving picture? That our body has wisdom, that our body knows how to respond and take care of us. And that if we allow it, instead of this fever and this medication dragging on for days, we can let our body do what it knows to do. Okay, so Jenn says, always told it's a sign of infection. Yes, yes. And what's going to take care of that? Our body. Build up that fever, build up that temperature, it can't survive. It can't survive. Now, again, as I said, you know, sometimes doctor's attention is required. And I would say in the case of an infection, I mean, if you're paying attention and you're noticing like, oh, you're not feeling so well, oh, you know, I'm feeling like, yeah, there's something going on. If we start supporting our body right then and there, our body, in most cases, if our health in general is good, is going to be able to take care of that on its own. And Jenn goes on to say, I agree, let our body heal itself. Yes, it has an amazing capacity to do so. It's when we start thinking that we know better than our body that, in my opinion, we can tend to really kind of mess things up. So why am I bringing this up today? Well, I've seen some posts, people having fevers, flu, the bugs running through the house, all these visits to the doctors, and the doctor saying like, oh, it's not flu. Like, oh, it's not strep. It's not, you know. And then they're kind of going, well, what could it be? Well, again, if our body has a fever and there's not any other indicators that says, alert, 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 this is a major problem, then our body is just asking for us to support it and ourselves with the things that I said, you know, eating well, getting rest, getting good sleep, staying hydrated. Now, the other thing that sometimes happens is while it is manifesting and showing us physically that our body's working, our body is fighting something, our body is addressing something, what do you do in those cases where the issue's not physical? So what do I mean by that? Okay, you've got a fever, your doctor says like, nope, you know, all the tests come back negative, none of the usual culprits are in motion here, like essentially you're good. But you're thinking, oh, but I got a fever. Like, what do I do now? Well, again, if you're not feeling well, what's your body asking for? And if you know, You can post that in the comments. What is your body asking you to do if it's telling you it's not feeling well? Now, what it might be telling you versus what it's telling me or somebody else in your family or a friend, it can be different. Even if you got it all at the same time. It can be a more general physical issue, that being, oh, you know what? I'm dehydrated. Oh, you know what? I've been pushing and pushing and pushing myself. I haven't been getting good rest. Hey, Liz, I haven't been getting good rest. I have been overriding all of the signals that my body has been sharing with me to stop and take care of me, and I've been pushing through and doing my own thing anyway. Yes, Jen says maybe we need a change. Exactly. I know sometimes for me, it's also maybe I haven't been eating as well. So there could be more general physical issues that our body is trying to bring to our attention. Things that say, you know what? Yes, more water or less of something else. Yes, it's asking us to change something. It's asking us to step back, observe, become aware, connect with us, and take some different action. So it may not indicate one specific thing. It can give us a more general, like, hey, there's something going on here. And all the things that we talked about, being hydrated, rest, eating well, all of those also affect our immune function. So yes, there may be some physical things going on, but often what I see when people are going to the doctors, they want to be told a specific diagnosis and in most cases be given a specific prescription so that way they can take it and get done with this quick. But our body's trying to communicate with us. It's trying to communicate this wisdom that we talked about here a few minutes ago. This wisdom and ability that our body has to heal ourselves. So what happens if, okay, your body's indicating there's something going on, it's got your attention now, and you realize, like, okay, no, I've been eating well, I've been getting rest, I'm hydrated, you know, I've got my water right here, and there doesn't appear to be anything physical that would explain the physical symptoms I'm experiencing in my body. So what might this mean? And I'd love a response if you have one. And I know, yeah, it might be mean putting yourself out there a little. If you can't come up with a physical reason why your body's having physical symptoms, what might it indicate? Now, it's nice if it's physical. You know, like, oh, I worked out hard yesterday. Of course my body is feeling sore today. Or I went hiking for 5 miles and the terrain was rough. Of course I've got some aches and pains today. Or like, oh, yeah, I had a deadline and I wasn't listening to my body. I'm pushing. And yeah, and now my body's saying you've got to get rest. You know, that tends to be some simple, easy changes. If, of course, you stop, you listen, and you respond, and actually take action. Okay, so I don't know if it's a delay or I don't know how many people are actually watching. The numbers keep changing. But it can also be an indicator that your body's working. In this case, using the example of a fever, there's no physical real explanation on why. All the tests came back negative. There doesn't seem to be anything general. Physically, my body wants me to know. But a fever is an indicator that our body's working. It's creating an environment for things not to be able to continue to exist in that environment. Yes. Jen says maybe a sign of something else you need. Yes. Yes. It may be a sign that, well, let me see if I can get some specific examples that are coming to mind. Yes. That the thoughts that you have historically been having in your head about you that are no longer supporting you, those critical thoughts, those judgmental thoughts, those not so nice thoughts, in some cases, some downright mean thoughts, that your body is creating an environment to kind of burn off the energy or baggage of some of the things that we've been carrying around. Yes, or fighting off something else. Maybe it's, you've been exposed to other not so supportive energy in the form of people, in the form of interactions with somebody else, in the form of a work environment you're in. And your body is letting you know that it's having to work really hard or harder. It's working, and it's giving you an indicator that it's working to not allow this to come into or stay in your being. Right, fighting off the negativity, Jen says. Yes. So the reason I'm wanting to have this conversation today is because, and thank you for Jen for jumping in and answering and responding. It helps frame this conversation. And when we show up and answer these questions, we start learning and processing things differently for ourselves too. So I'm saying this because, again, in our culture, we're given information and we're told this is what it means. It doesn't always mean that. We have a choice into how we respond to it. We can react, which is what we've often are taught. We're taught to react. Oh, fever, this is bad. Versus, oh, fever. Our body is getting our attention. It's indicating there's something going on, something that's not typical in our everyday. So what can I do? I can react and like, oh, what does this mean? Oh, what am I going to worry about? Oh, what could this, there's all this stuff that's happening. The mind starts taking over. What are we going to do? We're going to go to the doctor. Or we can stop and go, oh, thank you, body. Thank you for letting me know there's something that you want me to pay attention to. And then you can stop and breathe, which I'm going to do right now. And then you can have a dialogue with your body. Hey, body, thank you. And what do you want me to know? Now, I can tell you I'm going to go through the physical first. And then ask my body what my body needs and how it wants me to respond. By literally saying, okay, body, thank you for letting me know. What do you need from me? How can we work together on this? And if you go through the physical stuff and there's not anything physical, whether it's specific to then the general, then ask yourself, what else have you been exposed to energetically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that your body could be, one, wanting to bring to your attention, and two, wanting to fight off? And then what do you do with that? You ask your body. You ask your body what it wants you to know. You observe, you gather information. You step back. Give yourself some space to say, okay, what's going on around me? As opposed to be, so focused, so in routine of how our day goes, that anything that takes us out of that focus is like, ugh. And one of the things that I'd like to highlight is an indicator, like a fever. While it may not feel 100%, we may not feel great when we have one. It has a purpose, and a positive purpose. It's to get our attention and to take care of us. So imagine how our life, and if you have thoughts on this, I'd love to know, how would your life shift if this indicator that we've been taught is bad, is something to be worried about, is something to be afraid of or scared of, or our nervous system goes into fight, flight, freeze mode, survival mode, if it's just an indicator to get our attention? How would our life shift if we create this new paradigm for health and healing for ourselves? I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this. How would your life shift if instead of worry and panic and going into survival mode, you were able to step back and go, okay, it got my attention, my body got my attention, what can we do to work and address this together? How might things shift and change? Now, I can tell you for me, I rarely, if ever, have the need to go to the doctor. I don't spend money on prescriptions or over-the-counter medications. I'm not putting those toxins of prescriptions and over-the-counter medications in my body. I'm not spending money on it. I'm not putting time into going in the doctors. Jen says, yes, we get tuned into our body. Yes, we do. We get to know ourselves in a new way. We develop a relationship with our being. We work together versus fighting each other. I become and own me as my most powerful healer. Because our bodies and beings have an unlimited capacity to heal. An unlimited capacity to heal. Anything our body creates, our body can heal. Anything our being creates, our being can heal. That's my belief. I don't go to the doctors, rarely. I don't need to. My body lets me know when something's going on, and it lets me know how I can respond to it, how we can work together and take care of ourselves. If anybody, when you watch this, whether it's live, you've got questions, you've got comments, please feel free to share. And again, thanks, Jen. I love when somebody is engaged in this. Okay. So Jen brings up a good point. She says, unfortunately, I'm diabetic, so I have to realize that I need to make the changes that I need to make without the unhealthy medication. Yes. Yes. And thank you, Jen, for seeing an opportunity and possibility here versus, oh, this is just something I've got to deal with. I have no choice about this. Because there are possibilities. I have had people that I've worked with decrease medication because their body's doing more healing, come off medication because their body no longer needs it. And They have more energy. They feel better, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. They feel empowered. Ah, Jen says, which is what she's trying to do. And this is a great place to be. And brings me to my next point. If this is something that you want to do, if you want to be able to enhance your self-healing, you want to create a new paradigm for yourself for health and healing, and that can be physically, emotionally, spiritually, or mentally, and you're finding that while you're ready, you're willing, you've been struggling with how to actually make that happen, or maybe you've been taking action and not so great results, or it seems like it's dragging on and on and on. I can help. So if that's something you're interested, send me a message. I'll put two things in the comment. You can join my community because we have these conversations there. And I will also send another link so that way you can schedule some time with me and we can talk about what that would look like. Congratulations, Jen, on being aware of this and knowing that you can take action, that you can take responsibility, and that you are. Congratulations, that's awesome. All right, everyone. I look forward to connecting with you because, hey, I've had those experiences. I've had those issues with my physical health, with, well, and it of course affected my emotional and mental, spiritual health as well. And yeah, ran up against roadblocks, ran up against obstacles, ran up against things like, oh, you're going to take this medication for the rest of your life. What? No, my body is phenomenal. My being is phenomenal. And I'm happy to say, those issues that I was experiencing, one of them being migraines every day for over a year, I haven't had in well over a decade, and I'm not on any medication. I don't have medication in my house. Pain medication, you know, even over-the-counter medication, don't have them. Don't need them. So if that's something that you're interested in learning more about, check out the links I'll post when I wrap this up. And let's connect and get on a call and see how I can support and help you change your paradigm around health and healing. All right, everyone. I'm sending you lots of love, magic, because that's where good stuff happens. And of course, all things fucking fantastic. Until we connect again, I love y'all. Bye.